Hey there, everybody. I am Eric J. Olson, your host for this episode of the Managing Partners Podcast. On this podcast, we interview America's top managing partners to find out how they're running their firms, how they're growing their firms, and how they are keeping their case pipeline full. And today I have with me Alexandra Geczi. Hey, Alexandra.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Where are you dialing in from?
Dallas, Texas, the big D.
All right, cool. Let me tell the audience a little bit about you. Attorney, mother, and women's advocate Alexandra Geczi founded the firm Alexandra Geczi Family Law, one of the only family law firms in the country dedicated exclusively to women. Her firm helps women let go of bad marriages so they can live a life they love. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself and the firm.
Well, you did a good job there, but I guess I started the firm 2008. I started off as sort of a solo. I did a little bit of estate planning and family law. And then it just kind of evolved over time. I ended up building up a firm with several attorneys, and we did general family law, kind of dropped the estate planning, did that for a little while. And now we're sort of evolving again post-pandemic. And about, I would say, 5 years ago or so, I really started focusing on women and helping them through the divorce process. Prior to that, I had actually represented a lot of men, a lot of CEOs, executives, professionals, and things like that. And just had a series of cases that sort of made me shift my focus. And I love representing women now and helping them through the divorce process. I really enjoy the mechanics of divorce and supporting these women through this process. So, and then the firm itself has just sort of evolved as far as its structure as well. Now we're sort of in a virtual mode, whereas instead of having in-house a lot of people, now we're sort of, we have a lot more contractors and freelancers working with us. And we're it's just been very interesting how it's sort of evolved over the last few years. But yeah, so that's where we're at now.
I was surprised to read in your bio that you are one of a few family law firms that focus exclusively on women. I was surprised because there's a firm locally, the Firm for Men. Yes. And I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia, that focuses on men. So I just naturally assumed that it was balanced. That's surprising that there's only, maybe you, and I assume there's still others, but not many that focus on women.
Yes. Yeah. I was actually surprised too in doing some of our marketing. A lot of these publishing companies that, all of us lawyers are very well aware, they give us awards and stuff, and they have a category for father's rights, but they don't actually have a category for mother's rights or women's rights. And so for the last couple of years, we've been kind of, every time we have those calls, those annual calls where they try to, sell you something, I keep pushing, where's the mother's rights category? Where's the women's rights category? And they're like, oh, blah, blah, excuses. But I don't know. I don't know why that is. So it's
It's surprising to me. Now, what do you mean they call and try to sell you something? I thought there wasn't a sales process. I'm just kidding. Well, cool. So certainly when I speak to other family lawyers, referrals come into play a lot. But you and I were chatting beforehand, and it sounds like you have a lot of other lead sources besides just referrals. Can you go into a little bit of detail about some of the marketing that you're doing right now?
Oh, I'd love to. The marketing is like my favorite part of running a business, right? You've got all the different parts of the business, which, there's other parts that are great. Some are less, but the marketing for me is where, I just love it. So I've experimented a lot over the years, and our marketing now focuses a lot on various internet techniques. So I used to be 100% referral and did a great, I did great doing that, but I found that it was very taxing on my time. And so I needed to find, if I was going to scale, I needed to figure out alternative ways to help support. I still enjoy networking and referral, based marketing, but I needed other options. And so the last few years, we've actually been experimenting with a lot of different things, and it's not just the traditional, social media and advertising. There's a whole array of different marketing approaches that are out there. One of the things we've been experimenting with this last year was funnels. So there's a couple of companies out there. And so we subscribe to one of them, and you basically set up like landing pages that are not on your website. There's separate landing pages that basically walk people through to an action that you want them to take. And so it's a great opportunity for us to put videos or to put guides or checklists, and then we can track the campaigns that lead into those funnels, rather than just having, a general search term on Google that then lands on your website and you can't really track it very well. And so we don't know if a campaign is effective or not. We've also done a lot of workshops and webinars, especially the last couple of years. Those have become much more popular. We actually started doing it just before COVID and found that those were starting to pick up then too. And so, now as we kind of go post-pandemic, we're going to start doing more of a hybrid, not just internet, but we're going to have more in-person workshops. The different I don't know if you count in-person workshops as sort of a referral, but the way we market the workshops is much more internet-based. So those people will come in. You also have the ones that don't want to come in, so they'll do the webinars and stuff like that. So that's been a good source too. You don't get as much volume, but you do get better quality that way. And then content on our website is big. SEO. For me personally, for our firm, and I think for a lot of lawyers, content is very important. Having, our ideal clients like to research things. So what keywords are they researching, and making sure that we're speaking on those topics so that they're out there finding our articles as their research and coming to our website.
When someone finally does raise their hand and they want to talk to you, have you found that they've done a decent amount of research on different options for themselves, different lawyers they know about you?
That's sort of 50-50. I think our ideal clients, they have done research, and they know that I'm going to be the one that's a good fit for them. And I think that's a part of what we're putting out there, so that they get to know me and the firm a little bit better. And so that they know it's a good personality fit, because I know I'm not a good personality fit for everybody, but for our ideal clients, it's great. I think there's actually a difference. I think the women do that. They are much more thorough in their research, but the men, I find, they'll just sort of they don't do a whole lot of research, and we'll still get calls from a lot of men, and they don't even know that we represent women. So we're like, have you visited the website? Are you familiar with it? No, I just found you guys on Yelp or on Google. It looks 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever. Like, you guys are good for me, right? I'm like, well, do a little more research.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of men are like a little shocked, huh?
They're actually pretty cool about it. Every once in a while, you get someone who gets a little ticked off at it. They say you're sexist or whatever. Like, I'm going to sue you or whatever. But
sure.
But for the most part, I think they think it's pretty cool.
But that's one of the, I don't know if I'd say a danger of niching, but when you niche, you need to, it's almost like you're excluding everyone besides that ideal prospect. So you want that ideal prospect, your ideal prospect, to find you and say, oh, this firm is for me. But what that means is everybody else feels excluded. And that's the product of niching, and it's going to happen, and it's okay. Did you find that as challenging in the beginning when you first started to go into this niche?
So it takes courage to be disliked. So yes, I was scared at first. It sounded like a crazy idea. It was counterintuitive, but I had to, that saying, there's riches in the niches. And so I would have to say that mantra to myself over and over again. And it was so funny. A few years ago, I made finally the commitment, the decision to be like, well, we still had a good chunk of men that we were representing. And I was like, the systems we're building, they just don't fit that type of case. And so I need to just commit to this sort of case, just divorces, just women, particular types of women. Right. And, to make that work, I have to commit. And so I made that decision. I pronounced it to the entire firm. I was like, we are no longer accepting XYZ cases, right? And then that week we had 3 multimillionaire men call the firm and be like, I want you to represent me. And I had to say no to all of them. I mean, it was a real test.
Yeah.
So,
we've done the same thing here. So we focus just on law firms, and we'll get the contact us form submitted. And it's very similar to you. Some of these businesses don't really do a ton of research, and we have to say no, but you say no because you really want to say yes to these other opportunities. It's a better fit for you. And certainly once you've trained your firm about, the kinds of folks that you want to work with, they get so much better, so much more efficient, that at some point you realize, I don't even want to take these multi-million-dollar opportunities because that's not us anymore, right? At some point you do actually change as a firm. Did you find that too?
Very much so. I mean, what you're saying is correct about like the efficiencies that we've built in, because now we know, okay, if it's this type of client coming in, like I don't even have to instruct my team half the time because they know exactly how the process works. They know exactly what forms have to happen. And so my time has been freed up. Just the marketing systems themselves. I know exactly who I'm speaking with. So there isn't any sort of, the experimentation is a lot less now. I don't have to spend as much money trying to, shotgun approach it, right? I know exactly where I'm going, where my target is shopping, right? And I can go in there, say the words that they need to hear to pull them in. So the amount of money and time it has freed up has been wonderful.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Out of all of the marketing that you're doing right now, what is something that is working especially well these days?
So we've been tracking our marketing for a while, for the last couple of years. And I have a lead tracker that my team gives me every couple of weeks. So I kind of see our internet marketing has actually now at about 70% of our cases come from the internet. It didn't use, obviously it was like 100% at one point for referrals, and now it's like shifted the other way. So, for me as a business owner, I'm trying to look, okay, I like it to be more 50-50. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to swing back a little bit more to the referrals so I can kind of get that balance, because I hate to put all my eggs in one basket, right? But as far as the internet, like clearly that's been doing really well. I think content is, hold on, I've got my light just
you need
off.
the clapper.
Yeah, there you go. So as far as the internet marketing, I can tell you that content has been really key. Getting good blog writers to create content on our blog, the social media, linking back to the articles and just letting people know that we've got this content out there, offering the webinars and seminars and different things on the topics that we know our ideal client is looking for. That I think has been really key to that.
I like it. Now, conversely, what is something that used to work maybe for you, but just hasn't worked very well recently?
Networking.
Good answer.
So I'm actually an introvert, and I enjoy people's company and all that, but I really I recharge by kind of going into myself and being quiet and being away from people and stuff. So for me, networking was always very efficient. I would go in there. There was that book, Endless Referrals. I think I can't remember. There's a couple of networking books, but that one I always thought was really good because it talks about how you network with purpose. And, you go in, you find that center of influence, that person who kind of everybody knows. Yeah. And then, there's a whole strategy to it. And I teach a CLE on it, but, how you find that person, you go in, you find the other people, you make the introductions, you get the business cards and you put them into your contact, your management, your CRM, your database of all the names. And then you have, nurture points after that. Right. And that's really the point of networking. And so I think we did really good job of that. But it was exhausting for me because, driving in traffic to go downtown, maybe the stress, oh my gosh, am I going to be late? Am I going to meet the right people? Maybe I come back with 3 or 4 names of people that are really good. I can talk to 20 people, be exhausted, get maybe 3 good names out of it, and so that part I don't really miss so much. Mm-hmm. And, now with the pandemic, networking had to change. So we did a lot of like online events, but then I think people got kind of that Zoom burnout. So I think that's where I think the referrals have kind of dropped off. I think that's been sort of part of it. I really haven't been as diligent about that. But for 2022, I'm actually revamping our plan on some new ideas I've got about how to still be efficient with referral marketing and networking. That still doesn't exhaust me as much too. So
you're right. It's very time consuming. So it's efficient and it's high trust, high touch, but that means high time as well. So
yeah.
What are your plans for the next couple of years?
Well, I love the direction that the firm is going now with virtual. I love, it was actually pre-pandemic, I was putting on sort of the 5-year goal, hoping that people would eventually catch on. So in my mind, that was sort of a silver lining of the pandemic, was that it sort of got people there faster. And so we are now sort of pivoting a little bit, working from home has been really great, productive for my team. The offerings we've systematized a lot more. So I want to offer a lot more flat fee, litigation flat fee, which I think is also a possibility. When you niche, you can actually do litigation on a flat fee, which then will equalize the income revenue also that comes in each month, because then I can figure out how much revenue comes in and not have to be dependent on when payments come in. So that's kind of the direction we're heading the next couple of years.
I like it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, cool. If someone would like to reach out and ask you a question, or maybe they have a case for you, what's a good way to get in touch with you?
We've got a great contact page on familylawdfw.com. That's our website. You just shoot us an email through the contact page.
Great URL, by the way.
Yes, really thank you. Thank you.
All right, everybody. If you would like to check out other episodes like this, you can see our entire backlog at arraylaw.com/podcast. Every episode is tagged by practice area and by state, so you can find exactly what you're looking for. And if you're looking for digital marketing for your law firm, please consider my firm, which is Array Digital. We specialize in digital marketing for law firms, which means websites, SEO, online advertising, and social media. Thanks. Appreciate it.